Chapter 10 Heaven Lake by Vikram Seth.
The public bus from Urumqi to Heaven Lake leaves at 8 in the morning. However, our hotel is a considerable distance outside the city, and there are no buses that could get us to the city center in time. We stand on a deserted firing range at dawn, a forlorn knot of three, and a friend of John's is going to Heaven Lake for a day. We sit in the last row, but one bumped about but free of stairs. The bus rolls out of the drab grid of the city, and we are soon in open countryside with fields of sunflowers as far as the eye can see, their heads all facing us. Where there is no water, the land reverts to desert. While still on level ground, we see in the distance the tall range of Mount Bogda, our destination, abrupt like a shining prism laid horizontally on the desert surface. It is over 5,000 meters high, and the peaks are under permanent snow, in powerful contrast to the flat desert all around. Heaven Lake lies part of the way up this range, about 2,000 meters above sea level, at the foot of one of the higher snow peaks. As the bus climbs, the sky, brilliant before, grows overcast. I have brought nothing warm to wear. It is all down at the hotel in Urumqi. Rain begins to fall. The man behind me is eating overpoweringly smelly goat's cheese. The bus window leaks inhospitably but reveals a beautiful view. We have passed quickly from desert through arable land to pasture, and the ground is now green with grass, the slopes dark with pine. A few cattle drink at a clear stream flowing past moss-covered stones. The stream changes into a wide torrent, and as we climb higher, I wish more and more that I had brought with me something warmer than the pair of shorts that have served me so well in the desert. The stream, which we are told rises in Heaven Lake, disappears, and we continue our slow ascent. About noon, we arrive at Heaven Lake and look for a place to stay at the foot, which is the resort area. We get a room in a small cottage, and I am happy to note that there are thick quilts on the beds. Standing outside the cottage, we survey our surroundings. Heaven Lake is long, sardine-shaped and fed by snowmelt from a stream at its head. The lake is an intense blue, surrounded on all sides by green mountain walls, dotted with distant sheep. At the head of the lake, beyond the delta of the inflowing stream, is a massive snow-capped peak which dominates the vista. It is part of a series of peaks that culminate, a little out of view, in Mount Bogda itself. For those who live in the resort cottage, there is a small mess hall by the shore. We eat here sometimes and sometimes buy food from the vendors outside who sell kebab and naan until the last buses leave. The kebabs cooked on skewers over charcoal braziers are particularly good, highly spiced and well done. Horse's milk is available too, but I decline this. I am so affected by the cold that Mr. Cow, the relaxed young man who runs the mess, lends me a spare pair of trousers, several sizes too large but more than comfortable. Once I am warm again, I feel a pre-dinner spurt of energy. Dinner will be long in coming, and I ask him whether the lake is good for swimming in. Swimming, Mr. Cow says. You aren't thinking of swimming, are you? I thought I might, I confess. What's the water like? He doesn't answer me immediately, turning instead to examine some receipts with exaggerated interest. I look at the water again, inviting and smooth, just begging a body to slice through it, to luxuriate in its clear depths. I untie my shoelaces. The little mess will serve as a changing room. After all, I have just changed into a pair of trousers here. Mr. Cow, with great offhandedness, addresses the air. People are often drowned here, he says. After a pause, he continues. When was the last one? This question is directed at the cook, who is preparing a tray of mantau, squat white steamed bread rolls. and who now appears wiping his doughy hand across his forehead. Was it the Beijing athlete? Asks Mr. Cow.
Yes, it was the Beijing athlete.
The Beijing athlete? I quaver. The placidity of this water must be deceptive.
Yes, I think so,
says Mr. Cow to the cook.
He would swim across the lake and back every day,
repeats the cook.
And then one day he swam to the other side and had just started on his way back when he simply disappeared. Drowned,
tolls the cook.
Drowned? The Beijing athlete?
I ask anxiously.
Yes,
says Mr. Cow.
He was from an athletics college in Beijing. Or was it Tianjin?
Beijing, says the cook with authority.
But how did this happen?
I blurt out. Mr. Cow has gone back to his receipts. He looks up at the cook, who says in a lugubrious tone,
Well, no one knows. He might have had a heart attack.
Or he might have got cramp, suggests Mr. Cow.
Or maybe the water was too cold,
adds the cook.
Or maybe it was a current under the surface. No one knows. His body was never found.
Mutters the cook as he heads back for the kitchen. I retie my shoelaces. Later, however, temptation overcomes caution. I take a short dip, keeping close to the shore. The water is clean and extremely cold, and I splash around for a few minutes before emerging blue and refreshed. John and I walk around the foot of the lake, looking for the point where it flows out into that stream we drove along this morning. We find it eventually, and it is spectacular. The more so since the sky is now in the last multicolored spasms of sunset. The stream plunges downwards in a series of cataracts through the pines into a small round blue pool, almost completely enclosed by forested slopes. The pool is probably about 30 meters across. The stream that we assume must flow out from it cannot be seen, which is odd because the whole pool seems to be visible. We spent several days at Heaven Lake wandering around, though John's slippers severely hinder him. The day John is leaving, we go down to the small ice blue serendipitous pool with a picnic lunch provided by Mr. Cow. Bread, dry cooked meat, peanuts, tomatoes and oranges. We are completely cut off from the world. It drizzles and is brilliantly sunny by turns. We make a fire in the lee of a rock, swim without fear of upsetting chance tourists, sun ourselves or shiver before the fire as the weather alternates, eat, drink and are merry.
To travel with an open mind makes the journey more enjoyable.